even a cup of water to one of these little ones, because he is my disciple, I tell you the truth, he will certainly not lose his reward. And the key verse here is, if anyone gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones, because he is my disciple, I tell you the truth, he will certainly not lose his reward. The little ones that Jesus is speaking about is you and me. The little ones are the followers, the friends of Jesus. We are to love and to help everyone. But what Jesus wants us to do first and foremost is to live and help and share each other. Why? Because when we become Christian, we enter into what's called a covenant relationship through our baptism. We enter into a deep relationship with God, and we are to be in a deep relationship with each other. Relationship of caring and sharing, a relationship of responsibility and accountability. But there is something really, really of the essence that we need to grasp when in this verse. If anyone gives even a cup of water. When you give something to each other, you give something to Christ. As I said earlier, Christ is not just up there. Christ is in each of us. You remember that parable in Luke about the sheep and the goats, and the people say to the king, to the master, well, where did we see you in prison? Where did we see you hungry and thirsty? Jesus said, well, when you came to visit me in prison, when you came to give me something to eat when I was hungry. In other words, Christ is in each of us. When we meet each other, when we greet each other, we're greeting Christ, God. And in a situation where, for instance, for whatever reason, you don't want to be together, you don't want to spend time with each other as the family of God, but you'd rather be doing something on your own or going or meeting other people, when you haven't make the time to do this, what it means is that the Christ in you goes away hungry. The Christ in you goes away thirsty. And when you spend kindness and joy with each other, Christ goes away smiling. God goes away smiling. Whatever we want the church to be, whatever we want our life to be with God, at the end of the day, we need to be in relationship with each other, a deep relationship of fellowship. And in the first letter of John, just to finish on this, in that letter of John it says, you cannot say that you love God without loving each other. It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Because God is in each of us. So those are just some thoughts to leave you with. When we are in good relationships with each other, then we have a kind of energy, a life, our eyes are open, and we have something to share. We need to love God, love each other, and then we're able to love the world. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Paul. That's a lot of food for thought there, hey? How are your little groups? Yeah, you're all chatting. It wasn't quiet, that's for sure. So lovely to hear, isn't it? And so I guess it's just from our sense, and we're just really grateful for Paul's input, it's a kind of an ongoing journey. It's not something that's going to change overnight, but it's so true, isn't it? As I've always noticed is I haven't told people I'm a curate or a vicar. I've just been relational with people, and sometimes people want to know why I'm kind or generous or something. Well, I try to be, I'm not always. And that's really what we have if we have Christ in us, isn't it? Is to, just to help the stranger, to be a friend, if nothing else. So, and really in these post-COVID times, are we post-COVID? It's become more important, isn't it? I think it was my birthday the other week, and I was getting really nervous about going out because I haven't been out for a long time and been in that close relationship for a while. And so these are things that almost as though we're relearning, isn't it? And we can learn them well and be as Christians, really have got something to give, haven't we, I think, in that sense of I do this, I have Christ in me, so I can be bold or brave. So yeah, thanks. It really has something that I'm going to be trying to think about, not just from process, but how we might do that as a church and have opportunities to do that as a church, like we've had today. So whoever you've met, remember their name if you can. I'm more of a faces man, but just write it down if you can't remember it. And pray for them today. And then if you see them next week, say, hey, I prayed for you, and how was things, etc. And that's how relationship starts, isn't it? It's really simple, but we make it. Sometimes it feels hard and complicated. It's certainly not easy. There is a survey. You might have, I don't think you've got these. I wonder whether we could maybe just hand them out while I'm doing the rest of the service. These are just a short survey. If you haven't done it online, which wasn't expecting everyone to, but we thought we'd put it online, is if maybe best thing to do if you're going to do these things is do them now before you go. So if we can maybe hand one of these to each of you, if you could, you don't have to do it right now. And there is a QR, if you're more of a phony person or a tech person, I think, Joseph, there's a QR code on one of the slides. Does anyone know what a QR code is? So basically, if you open your iPhone or phone and you put the camera on and you see a square come up, it will link you to the questionnaire. So if you've never done that before, if I'm the bringer of new technology into your life, then that's another thing I'd like to bless you with. It took me a while. And so it's not long, it's just a few things, a few notes, and it would just help us, and especially after you've heard what you've heard today, it just help us understand, and maybe you understand a few things about church and your experiences of church. And then we can maybe feed that back to you and plan things on that basis. So thank you so much in advance. Okay, I think Young Church are due to come back, or do we have to get... They must have finished the DVD. What was it? Sounds like a good one. And just a few items of news. I believe there are some baptisms and confirmations happening at the end of February. And so if that's something as an individual or families you want to pursue, then please come and talk to us. In terms of confirmation, it's not too long. One of the sort of avenues we use for that is for people to go on the Alpha course online. That's actually happening at the moment. The first one started last week or the week before last. And so it's not too late to join that. And if you'd like to do that, you can do that on the website, or there's some people here that are involved. I think Sue's here, and I don't know if Andy and... but do come and speak to us after if that's something you'd like to do. It's a great forum for asking questions, for getting to know people, for understanding more about the church, more about God. So do come and ask if you don't know what that is. It's 7:30 on a Wednesday in Zoom, so if you can commit to that every week. Also, you might have noticed there's a notice board at the back there, prayer walking the parish. And so one of the things we did in that week of prayer on the Saturday was some people went round, I think they went in a car in the end because it's such awful weather, and just praying around the parish. What we'd like people to do, if they're keen, is to pick a road in Luton, highlight it on that board on the back and on the street. You can see where it is, and then take that, and then be praying for that road, or go and pray. Another opportunity for meeting other people who like mine to go and pray for that, or you can get together as a home group. So that's in that, see that green board right at the back behind the sound desk there. So go and have a look at that. That would be great. You could take your dog, sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. You could take your dog for a walk that way. Pray for kingdoms to break in. If there's schools, pray for the schools, pray for the teachers. Lots of ways we can do that. And then there's a new, a weekly prayer time. It's Tuesday afternoons at 4:30 on Zoom. And that's on the Facebook community page, but come and see us if you haven't got that. And that's every week, Tuesday afternoon at 4:30. So a group of everyone, anyone who wants to come together and pray for what's on your heart, what's on God's heart, or what the group are praying for. So we'd love to see you there. And I think that's all the family news. Have I got everything there? Always look for a nod. Okay, so it's my absolute honour to bless us, include myself in that. So I think there's some words going to come up on the screen for blessing, and if you say the words in blue. Dear Jesus, we are your disciples. This year, lead us, guide us, and teach us to show hospitality to each other. May we grow in mind, body, and spirit. Help us